people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
That's what you get when you pick your tune-ups. I don't know who he fought, and I mean I don't know a lot of people because I'm a family man and I'm not doing a lot of reporter analytical work these days. But I know a lot of people who didn't know who he fought. So Boots is Boots, man. He smelled blood in the first round and he handled it. I mean, he was coming out nice and calm. The kid just couldn't weather the storm. I mean, once it went downhill, it goes downhill quick. So that's the one thing about Boots is, he is a good finisher, if he can get you in that danger zone. He's fast, he's athletic. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely looking strong at 54, and he's definitely going to be a threat for anybody. I think Charlo called him out and different things, and there's a lot more talent at 154 uh, before before you want to crown yourself king with one first round knockout with a hand pick opponent. There's some good talent at 154. So
It's Keith Thurman's reaction to Jaron Ennis' first-round knockout of Luis Lima this weekend. I feel like he was playing nice. He chose to be civil about it.
A bit of situational awareness, perhaps, that
From Keith.
Boots just made his junior middleweight debut this weekend, and Keith Thurman made his junior middleweight debut earlier this year. You can't be too critical of who he fought, because that would leave you open to criticism over who you fought.
I said it in my weekend recap video, and I'll say it here again. The biggest takeaway from Boots' fight with Luis Lima is that Luis Lima was a bona fide junior middleweight who has fought as high as middleweight, so Boots being able to put him away as quickly as he did is encouraging, even if the opponent choice is not that provocative or intriguing.
But he was a bona fide junior middle. He wasn't some little guy that they moved up in weight. It's an encouraging omen that Boots was able to put him away so easily, because that's a good sign that the power carried. The speed, the sharpness, the power, all the things you saw at 147, you might continue to see at 154.
It's not always the case. Sometimes, some guys move up one division, just one weight class, and the power ain't what it was. I think one of the more glaring examples is Teofimo Lopez. He was a bit of a knockout merchant at 135, not so much at 140.
Couldn't knock out a Canadian club-level fighter in Steve Claggett that stood in front of him all night, whereas Boots put away Luis Lima quite easily. And some would say that Luis Lima is a club-level fighter. Boots did to him what he's supposed to do to him.
I mean, it's easy to say after a first round knockout with somebody that you picked when you told the whole world, I want a tune up. Like, don't knock out your tune up opponents and say you're the best fighter in the world. Like, calm down. But it's okay. Turn up, calm down. But turn up, but calm down. Okay, but I don't know. Do what you want to do, baby. You know what I'm saying? Eddie Hearns is a great promoter. He backs his fighters. I appreciate that. I appreciate a promoter who really backs their fighters. We've seen worse in boxing. Okay, people, we've seen worse. Okay, a lot of people love Boots Ennis. Boots Ennis is a terrific talent in the sport of boxing. So is he the best, the biggest dominating factor at 154? Only time will tell. You just got here, kid. I just got here too. We all kind of just got here. So, but with his skill set, he's been a big threat for a long time. I think he, was there any, what was the, I forget the old matchups that I liked, but I don't even know who he just fought. Like I don't even know
Danny
who that
Hanna,
guy's
yeah.
resume was, and
Yeah, oh, exactly, yeah.
It's a promoter's job to promote a fight, to make
Yeah.
a fight, to hype a fight. So to me, you just fought somebody who looks big and bad, and you made him ultra sad. Congratulations.
Still playing nice and still being civil, even taking time out to praise Eddie Hearn on his brand of promotion.
I noticed that.
I also noticed when Keith Thurman said that he hasn't been keeping up with the sport too much because, well, he's a family man.
Didn't know Lima.
He's not preoccupied with boxing or doing analytical work in the sport of boxing. That's telling also.
You know, sometimes you read too much into things.
Yeah, sometimes I do, but a lot of the time I'm right. I think it's telling what Keith Thurman sort of gave away in those two interviews with Marcos Villegas and Lance Pugmire. Keith Thurman, whose fight with Thurman-Fundora that was supposed to happen very soon, has been postponed, and now it's in the air. There are conflicting reports stating that the fight might land on Manny Pacquiao's undercard. The problem is Manny Pacquiao is rumored to be going back to Top Rank and fighting Vasyl Lomachenko, where everybody thought he was going to fight Rolly Romero. If Manny goes back to Top Rank and fights somebody over there, I hardly think Fundora versus Thurman is going to be the co-main event. Not on a Top Rank show.
Thurman recently detailed to Marcos Villegas how it was he found out about the cancellation.
It looks like Fundora is not going to need that long of a sit out, and we're going to have a quicker turnaround. But obviously, him and his team were not geared up and ready to step in the ring October 25th. They're really looking forward to this fight and really want to keep their boy world champion. So they made the best call for Sebastian Fundora, and that's understood. Like I said, been there, done that.
How did you hear about the news, Keith, and when did you hear about it?
I kind of heard like a little bit before the announcement, that there may be an issue, and we'll get back with you. But heads up. So I thought to myself, we'll figure this out. And we got the official news the following day when I was coming back from my road work. The turnaround for him is not a long turnaround. A lot of injuries that I've gone through, requested surgeries and things like that. So luckily for him, he's not looking at anything that severe, and let's just see what happens.
I have my own reservations as to why that fight has been postponed. I don't actually believe that Sebastian is injured. I think they saw that the tickets for the fight weren't moving, and they didn't anticipate big pay-per-view buys for it, so they wanted to pair it with Manny's fight.
Now I'm not sure if they'll be able to.
If Manny goes to Top Rank and he fights somebody over there, I do not think Thurman versus Fundora will be the co-main event. Top Rank will give that slot to one of their own guys.
So then what happens to Thurman versus Fundora?
Nothing happens. Nothing. Fight might not go down. It might not happen. I think that Keith Thurman knows that. I think he knows that the fight is in serious jeopardy, which is why he was playing nice with Boots, which is why he's now telling Eddie Hearn to call him. Eddie Hearn, who he praised more than once.
Eddie Hearn, who he is now telling to call him in order to make the Jaron Ennis fight happen.
Eddie Hearn mentioned at the post-fight, and I wanted to get your comments, or at least your rebuttal to this. He mentioned that he had offered Boots to you for this fight, for this date.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Stop lying. Eddie, stop lying. All right? Come on now. Fake news. This is America, baby. I'm going to call you out like Trump. Fake news. Alert. Fake news, people. 100% fake. Please. I'm an easy guy to talk to. Talk to me. Make it happen. Talk to me. Don't talk about me. Don't talk like you talk to me. All right? We can get you the right people. Call up Marcos. Marcos got my number. Eddie, call Marcos. Marcos got my number. I ain't gonna put it out there. He got my number. You can find me, pimp.
So here's what I think. From the very beginning, I questioned whether or not Keith Thurman was really going to go through with this Sebastian-Fundora fight, but based on what I'm seeing, this guy's been sparring. If you saw these interviews, you can see Keith Thurman's face is marked up.
Looks like he was really gonna do it. He was really gonna go through with the Fundora fight. Looks like it. Let's play devil's advocate.
Say that he was. The situation must have grown really desperate for Keith if he was going to throw caution to the wind and fight somebody like Sebastian-Fundora. He must be really, really strapped for cash. And now that that fight is in jeopardy,
You understand? The guy's going from fighting Brock Jarvis to Sebastian-Fundora. He must really need the money. He is a family man after all, and like he said, he hasn't been doing a lot of commentator work, and we know he doesn't fight that often. He needs money.
if you're Keith Thurman, you're seeing that Gervonta Davis is off to Netflix to get a big bag with Jake Paul. You're seeing that David Benavidez, he's off to Saudi Arabia to box for the Turk.
Get a big Saudi bag.
You're seeing that two of the bigger names and flagship fighters on your side of the street are going elsewhere for big opportunities. And maybe you start thinking, I should do that too. Maybe I should call Eddie. Maybe I should fight Boots. This Fundora fight, it might not happen. They said they're going to pair it up with Manny's fight, but Manny might be going to Top Rank.
So where does that leave me?
Where does that leave Keith's fight with Sebastian-Fundora? In the air. That's where it leaves it.
Remember that I'm playing devil's advocate, operating on the assumption that Keith was really going to fight Sebastian. If you're willing to fight Sebastian, you might be willing to fight Boots for the right price. Boots ain't 6'5". He ain't been at junior middleweight as long as Sebastian.
Give him the benefit of the doubt, fighting Boots might not be a bad idea. Granted, that he could lose to Boots just as easily as he could lose to Sebastian.
He needs money.
Whatever he's willing to subject himself to get it will tell the story. If he was willing to subject himself to a Sebastian-Fundora fight that I felt he was gonna lose, then he might be willing to lose the Boots too.
And just in keeping with the theme of Eddie Hearns' brand of promotion that Keith Thurman mentioned, Ben Whitaker versus Benjamin Gavazzi headlines Matchroom November 29th show in Birmingham. Ben Whitaker's Matchroom debut will headline a Birmingham show next month as the Olympic silver medalist seeks to scoop up the second title of his 3-year pro career. It has today been announced that the 28-year-old Whitaker, 9-0 with 1 draw and 6 knockouts, will face Germany's Benjamin Gavazzi, 19-1 with 13 KOs, on November 29th at BP Pulse Live, and what his new promoter called a major step-up to lay down a huge marker in the light heavyweight division. I mean, it is true that Benjamin has a lot more fights than Ben does, 2 times as many. And it is early in Ben's career, so I suppose that almost anything is a step up at this point. Almost anything is a step up from the guys that Boxer was matching him against. Matchroom chief Eddie Hearn calling it a cracking night while teasing more top fights still to be announced for this Midlands show in the coming weeks as the rest of their 2025 schedule continues to be unveiled and streamed live worldwide on DAZN. Landau's Gavazzi has reigned unbeaten since suffering a 4-round points loss in his November 2018 debut to Rostam Ibrahim, predominantly against unheralded opposition. The 30-year-old won domestic honors in March of 2021, stopping Vasily Sarbayev after 6 completed rounds, before winning and later defending the BDB international title once held by notable names Armand, I can't pronounce that, and Alem Bejic. He scored a 10th round stoppage win in his most recent contest last December, beating domestic rival Branimir Malenica to win the WBC International Silver Belt. None of these names ring a bell. None of these names are familiar.
Although Matchroom have noted the title is vacant, Gavazzi will seek to make his first defense a memorable one as he ends a near year-long layoff in enemy territory. Elsewhere in the card's chief support bout, lightweight talent Cameron Vuong will face veteran Gavin Gwynn in a long-awaited rematch. It will be a day shy of exactly 1 year since their heated first meeting, one the 23-year-old contentiously won on points. In a press release, Hearn said Ben Whitaker is the greatest signing any promoter in the world could have made and levels up from the get-go with a major title shot in front of his home fans in Birmingham on another unmissable card, stacked with huge fights. Vuong versus Gwyn 2 has been a year in the making, and Cameron will be hungry to dispel any doubts over their first fight. Set himself up for a busy year ahead. Molly, Meatball Molly, has a huge future, and Aaron has a great opportunity to kick on in the middleweight division. This isn't the only card that Matchroom has unveiled. They actually have a smaller show going on this weekend. They unveiled Ben Whitaker's Matchroom debut, and they also unveiled a Monaco show.
This is in addition to the already announced Pacheco versus Sajo show here in America later on this year. Matchroom has a lot going on, and we've been talking a lot about Eddie Hearn's commitment to corner the US market now that his competitors, PBC and Top Rank, are in a weakened state and aren't doing anywhere near as many shows as they used to. Now would be the ideal time for Matchroom to swoop in with a string of cards to try and take over. But taking over the United States doesn't seem to be hindering his ability to cater to a UK market as well, because Ben Whitaker's show, that's obviously for a UK audience, and so is the Monaco show. It's coming on at a time that accommodates a UK audience. It may as well be a UK time zone.
Now for rumors abound. There's a nasty rumor going around that what was supposed to be Boxer's first show on the BBC platform may be facing some issues, as Jamie TKV is reported to be injured, which jeopardizes that card. That's the main event slot.
They've got to try to find someone for Fraser Clark to fight in a jiffy to salvage that show. So Boxer is in a weakened state in the United Kingdom, and Top Rank and PBC are in a weakened state in the United States.
Matchroom, being one of the few promoters that operate in both of those boxing markets, puts them in a unique position to corner both audiences. So Matchroom rolling out this string of shows at this particular time is a good bit of strategy. It's a cutthroat business.
Always has been.
But if it is Eddie Hearns' goal to corner both markets, he has to act aggressively and take every opportunity to supplant his competitors, wherever they may be. I mean, when you sign a Ben Whitaker, that's essentially what you're doing. So you've got Boots making all these waves in America, for better or worse, and now you have Ben in the United Kingdom. Ben Whitaker, in addition to Conor Ben.
Anybody questioning Eddie's ability to promote fighters can't be taken seriously. It's an unserious person. You would have to be.
Ben Whitaker is a big signing, and I have my skepticism as to how far that fighter can go, but that doesn't change that that was a major acquisition for Matchroom.
Just like Boots was when they signed him. That was a big deal.
Filling the void for Matchroom has to be the first order of business. I say it all the time that the month of August and the month of September for boxing were painfully dry months. So the way that Matchroom can use that to their advantage is inundating the market with cards of their own. Big ones, small ones, whatever content you can kick out.
Do it.
Having so many of their top shelf fighters all tied up with Saudi shows must have created a cash surplus for them, since they weren't the ones that had to pay them. All they had to do was take their cut.
Their percentage.
So what you didn't have to pay Dimitri, what you didn't have to pay Bam, whatever other fighters are boxing in Saudi, use that to do more shows.
You ain't gotta tell them, they got the memo.